All right, all right, all right. You are now rocking with the best. Thank you for joining in on this impromptu ad hoc edition of Cowboys Crunch Time. I'm your host, KD Drummond. Thank you for following along. We've been killing it on Twitter, on the blog, at Blogging the Boys, bloggingtheboys.com. Of course, my personal account at KDP10for10, KDP10FOR10. And of course, we're here to talk about the Cowboys' first round selection. They have now brought in offensive lineman Zack Martin out of the University of Notre Dame. It's a tremendous pick. I'm very excited. I had Martin ranked as my 9th highest player on my big board, just ahead of Johnny Manziel. Obviously, if you've been following the draft coverage on ESPN or NFL Network, they've been shoving it down your throat. What would happen if Johnny Manziel dropped all the way to Dallas? Well, that exactly did happen, and the Cowboys said, no, thank you. We're going to continue building this offensive line. And it makes so much sense. It's beautiful. They are rebuilding the Great Wall of Dallas. For the third time in 4 years, the Cowboys have grabbed an offensive lineman with their first pick after ignoring it for so long. Jerry Jones has seen the light, and is always the case with Jerry Jones. When he realizes something, he kind of just basically throws all resources at it. You've seen it in individual drafts where he's bombarded a position, cornerback, running back, things of that sort. Now he's doing it with first-round picks in the offensive line, and it just makes sense, considering the investment that they've made in Tony Romo, his two back surgeries, the fact that you see so many teams with great offensive lines that are really doing things in the league. It might turn into more running for the Cowboys. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. DeMarco Murray had a very beautiful yards per carry average, and it would be awesome to see this pick mean that they would be more interested in running the ball. But regardless, Zack Martin is a great fit. He is a offensive tackle by trade. He will most likely, almost positively, kick inside to guard at the professional level, simply for the fact that the things that Zack Martin is missing in his skill set are basically negated by kicking him inside to guard. And that's the reason why so many people that evaluate him think that he can be a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro at the guard position. The Cowboys obviously think the same way about him because it continues their tradition of one of the main things that I've talked about with the Cowboys and their tendencies. The Cowboys love to walk away from the draft and say, we left the first round with the best player at this position. They've done it since Des Bryant came in. He was the best receiver on their board. That was followed up by Teron Smith, the best tackle on their board. They moved up to get Mo Claiborne, the best corner on their board. They missed out on Kenny Vaccaro, the safety, the best safety on their board, so they traded back to get Travis Frederick, the best center on their board. And now they went and they got Zack Martin, the best guard on their board. And I love the pick. 3 first-round picks on your offensive line is going to do a lot of damage. But what does Zack Martin himself bring to the situation? He started 52 games in college, 2-time captain, obvious RKG. So that's another tendency that comes into play. Obvious RKG, MVP of the Fighting Irish offensive line, all 4 years that he was in school. When you hear some of these people talk about him, when you describe Zack Martin and what he does, it's about his intelligence. You're pairing him next to Travis Frederick when you put him at guard. There's probably not going to be a smarter combination of center guard in the NFL. That means that you're going to eliminate all of the twisting and the stunting that defensive linemen can do to come up the middle. Remember when Philadelphia did that against Romo 2 years ago and broke his hand? That's probably going to be gone. And we're talking about basically 5 years, because they're going to re-sign Teron Smith. So you're talking about just years and years, not even 5, multiple years, beyond 5, of a dynamic Cowboys offensive line. And honestly, you can throw 2 average guys in there, your Ron Leary's, your Doug Freeze, maybe even your Mac Bernardow or somebody else if they draft or find somebody in late free agency. And this is going to be a dominant Cowboys offensive line. So what are we talking about here? Zack Martin does have short arms, but he's a very athletic guy. When you look at his metrics, he's very athletic as far as his broad jump and vertical and things of that sort. Surprising for the guy. But his strength is in his hands, how he keeps defenders off of him, how he has an initial pop that stuns defenders. He's a great fit for a zone blocking scheme, which is what the Cowboys do. He gets to the second level, and he can trap and pull and do all of those things that you need the guy to do. When he gets to the second level, he knows how to seek out and engage a linebacker. You'll see it all the time that sometimes offensive linemen will get to the second level and then completely whiff because they're unable to locate. He doesn't have that problem. He's a very heady player. Like I said, matching him up with Travis Frederick it's going to be phenomenal to watch the Dallas Cowboys after what we went through as a older line deteriorated and what we were left with when we had Phil Costa and Bill Nagy starting next to each other. It's going to be tremendous to see this dominant Cowboys offensive line come into fruition. And I don't think it's going to take that long because, like I said, he started 52 games at left tackle in college. So I don't think it's going to take very long for him to adjust to the NFL. He's probably not going to get a lot stronger than what he is based on the simple fact that Notre Dame has such a high-level program. I'm not going to say that he's maxed out physically, but it's not like he went to some rinky-dink podunk college that had no strength and conditioning training program. He's gotten some of the best at Notre Dame. Their facilities there are top-notch. So you could easily see what's going to happen or what he presents in the NFL. Now, of course, Dallas continued the tradition of pre-draft visitors. This is, I believe, the 8th in 9 years that their very first selection was somebody that they brought in for a pre-draft visit. What can I say? You got to love it. The first round did have some surprises. We thought we might have a chance at Aaron Donald. Obviously, that was everybody's favorite pick. The NFL basically trolled us, having Aaron Donald slide all the way down to 13 before he was snatched up by the St. Louis Rams. But Zack Martin is no consolation prize. Again, I had him 9th ranked on my board. I'm very happy about that pick. And for those of you complaining about other picks that weren't made, Calvin Pryor went a couple picks after us to the New York Jets. Calvin Pryor is not the top safety on my board. He's not the second safety on my board. He's the third. I have Jimmy Ward as the best safety on the board because Dallas doesn't need a box safety. They don't need a cover 2 safety. They need a single high center fielder. And Calvin Pryor takes horrible angles to the ball. He has great range, but he doesn't take angles to the ball carrier very well. And I'm talking about passes completed underneath him or passes that go intercept. Don't like it. Clinton Dix does that, but he doesn't have the range that you need. He's the number 2 safety, but Jimmy Ward has a combination of both of those out of Northern Illinois. I don't think he's going to get to the Cowboys, but I'm just saying, stop all the griping about not getting Calvin Pryor. Stop all the griping about not going defense because the Cowboys have 10 more picks. They have the 47th pick in the second round, the 71st pick in something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right. Whatever it is, 78th pick, sorry. 78th pick in the third round. And they're going to address this defense. Don't worry. That's another edict. In the second year of a defensive regime, the Cowboys flood the defensive side of the ball. So don't worry. The Cowboys are going to get some defensive players to help augment what has happened. And there's going to be some guys left on the board. You're seeing some of the names that are coming off now. A couple of the pass rushers is gone. D Ford is gone. Marcus Smith is gone. Obviously, Ha-Ha's, Clinton Dix, and Calvin Pryor are gone. C.J. Mosley's gone. But there's going to be so many guys right in the fat part of the draft, and that's really what we're about to enter as we transition into the second round. A couple picks left in the first round, but the second round is so thick. Thicker than a Snicker. I'm trying to tell you. The second round, I have 18 guys rated as first rounders. I have 39 people with a second round grade. So when you spill that over from what's left over in the first round, the Cowboys are definitely going to get a top quality player. This draft is completely deep. I see starters all the way through the end of the third round, even into the fourth. I see starting caliber players. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. What can you say? The Cowboys draft is underway. It's Christmas for NFL fans. You know how we do. Keep it tuned to Cowboys Crunch Time. We're going to be back as the weekend progresses with more updates, so stay tuned. Subscribe to us on blogtalkradio.com/Cowboys Crunch Time. Of course, on iTunes, search for Cowboys Crunch Time with KD. We will be on YouTube posting our podcast as well as video reactions, some stuff we're going to be doing over the draft weekend. SBN, Blogging the Boys, is the YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe there, and make sure you check out the blog for all of your needs. We're killing it over there with the coverage. Make sure you go check it out. And as always, follow me on Twitter at KDP10for10. I'm your host, Cowboys Crunch Time, KD Drummond. I appreciate your time. Salute.